This is a larger problem of social decay, of too much governance, too much dependence on big daddy government coming in here and saying, we're gonna help you guys. We're gonna solve all of your problems. Just give us some of your money. Just let us tax you. Let us regulate you. And the people here said, yeah, sure. Take him. Hey guys, this is Ogredeski here of WeAreChange.org reporting to you from the streets of Venice, California, where we are going to be discussing fifth generational warfare, which I think is pretty apparent that it's happening and being waged on the American working class more than ever, especially when you visit California and see everything that I am seeing here in this very perplexing, bewildering experiment of communism that is unfolding in front of everyone. Now, very interestingly, Venice is not that big of a crap hole like it used to be, but it's still a crap hole. And what I specifically want to talk about as I move past these musicians is what's been happening to the American middle class for a very, very long time, as I believe, and I'm going to be talking about in this video specifically how there is a conspiracy, how there's a lot of very powerful forces working, specifically using fifth generational warfare in order to try to, of course, screw over the American blue-collar working class that it seems like almost no one gives a damn about. Now, before getting into that subject and showing you more of the very interesting, curious streets of Venice, California here, in front of you is a venue that we used yesterday for our meetup for members of LukeUnfiltered.com for my birthday, and a crap ton of people came out to the Venice Ale House, and it was an incredible event. We packed that entire venue. A lot of people showed up from all different backgrounds, all different ethnicities, all different races and ages, and it was an incredible event. Someone literally brought out a projector and video games and a unicycle. Other people and other individuals came out from even 3 hours away, and we just totally just rocked this entire place last night. And it was a really awesome, really fun event. And it reminded people that they're not alone. It reminded people that, yes, you know, things aren't that good for humanity right now, but at the same time, you at least know that you're not alone in realizing the larger destruction of Western, some would say civilization, some would say the status quo, some would say of just normal life and decency, which is being thrown in utter decay, especially in states like California. Now, when it comes to discussing fifth generational warfare, if you're unfamiliar with the term, it's pretty much explained as a larger information war, a larger psychological war, where you use deception, disinformation as a way to try to, of course, conquer, subjugate, and enslave a population. Now, if you look around, especially in this state, I think it's pretty apparent that that's happening. Now, first generational warfare implies people fighting with muskets and in formations. Second generational warfare, from an American perspective, represents more of a guerrilla style fighting technique. Then, of course, we have third generational warfare, which uses basic infiltration techniques. Fourth generational warfare talks about modern insurgency and counterinsurgency. And of course, here, I think we are dealing with a situation where humanity is attacked in so many different ways, in so many different perspectives, where people don't realize that there's a war on for their mind, and it's manipulating them to make very poor, bad decisions for themselves that essentially are leading them down a very bad road that robs them of their life, their existence, of any kind of financial future and security, which brings me to the first topic of discussion, and that this has been happening for many decades now, and people haven't realized it. People aren't really aware of it, but I think a lot of this started specifically in the 1970s when it came to David Rockefeller deindustrializing the United States, and then specifically, more importantly, going to China and opening up China for the rest of the world, using China as a caveat to kind of push out and play a lot of these larger globalist technocratic wet dreams as part of a beta program to see what they could get away with and can't get away with when it comes to essentially enslaving modern humanity. And when you look at China, especially with what they've been doing within the last few years with the one-child policy, with the social credit score, it is the globalists' wet dream. And this has only really been practiced, this only has been really put forward mainly because of a lot of elitists, a lot of individuals like David Rockefeller that used Henry Kissinger and his connections to the Richard Nixon campaign and took all the blue-collar factory jobs and replaced them with essentially slave labor in modern-day China, making America more of a consumerist economy, while at the same time utterly destroying major industrial hubs like Detroit, Baltimore, and many other cities around the United States that lost a lot of the jobs that would sustain an entire family just off one single parent working at home. And this larger kind of squeezing, this larger kind of pressure on the people in the United States has been progressively getting worse and worse and worse, especially when it came to, of course, putting women in the workplace, which doubled the workforce, lowered the price of labor, while, of course, increasing the price of housing. They also do a very similar policy with immigration, which Bernie Sanders specifically talked about being essentially a larger Koch brothers plan. Now he doesn't really say that. Now he's talking about, for some reason, how poor whites essentially have it better than anyone else for some reason. Again, the flip that happened to Bernie Sanders is very curious, is a very interesting one, but also represents a lot of the kind of cognitive dysfunction that happens to a lot of liberals and leftists that used to be protesting, used to actually make concerted good arguments against the larger corporate takeover of the United States by the ruling banking elitist class. And now it seems like they're the biggest cheerleaders of it. And you see Bernie Sanders transition from someone that was calling out the billionaires to someone who's now cheering on the billionaires and the industries and all the other corporations that are running major psyops on the American people, which really kind of is the epitome of what happened to the modern leftists that are no longer anti-war, no longer anti-big pharma, no longer anti-Monsanto, no longer anti all these huge industries that historically they always been against, that they always fought against. And now they're saying, yeah, more division, more corporations being able to do what they want, more record profits for them, while the individual, a person that represents populist ideas, is usually shunned away and ostracized and attacked in our modern society by the corporate media. And then the other people who are essentially zombies take the script, regurgitate it, and then start attacking individuals for daring to try to express populist ideas that would essentially try to help out the American middle class and the working class, which again is being screwed over by the Republicans and Democrats. But the Democratic betrayal, I think, is more evident here, especially in California, a place that has incentivized criminals, a place that has incentivized homelessness, bedlam, while, of course, taxing, regulating, and screwing anyone else over who's trying to make an honest living, trying to start their own business, trying to help other individuals that essentially don't have a chance to do so because of all the strict top-down rules that allow major monopolies to have total control of the market. Because when you look at Bezos, when you look at Amazon, when you look at all these other huge industries and all these other billionaires as well, a lot of them from Silicon Valley are calling for more regulations, more taxes, and more rules. Why? Because it essentially destroys any kind of competitive edge anyone else would have against them, because the big corporations could comply. They could spend a little bit of money, but they know that by doing so, the chances of someone else coming up and being able to survive all that and not having the amount of money and influence and lawyers and tax write-offs that they do is virtually impossible. So essentially, we're seeing a corporatist, commie-like state that has usurped not just people's individual rights within the last few years, but also their ability to make a living, also their ability to make ends meet, also, more importantly, their ability to just live a good life. And now, what kind of situation, what kind of society we have? Well, I think it's one that could be described by a lot of the bedlam here. Now, is this all because of David Rockefeller taking away jobs from the United States? I would say no. I would say that started a lot of the larger problems. I believe the war on drugs was also another major issue in the United States that essentially criminalized individuals for just taking substances that they wanted themselves. Now we have the inverse problem of that with local governments, especially here in California, literally giving out drug paraphernalia and drugs after getting everyone hooked, especially after the big pharma debacle when it came to the Oxycontin and painkiller and all these other medications that were forced and given by medical doctors, creating the opioid epidemic, which essentially got people hooked to legalized heroin. And then surprise, surprise, China's coming in, importing all the fentanyl into this country. And then why? Oh, gee, I wonder why. There's a bunch of junkies stringing themselves out who, of course, are dealing predominantly with mental health problems and don't want help, don't want assistance, even though the state of California spends tens of thousands of dollars each year on helping homeless individuals, tens of thousands of dollars for one particular individual. And are people seeing the results of that? No. They're seeing more homelessness, they're seeing more bedlam, they're seeing more individuals that are down and out, supposedly on their luck, but also making personal decisions just to tune out of society that's becoming more and more unfair for the average human being and prioritizes the multinational corporation that truly does call the shots and establishes the true reign of control inside of the US government. So when it comes to seeing this larger perspective, why are people tuning out? Why are people strung up? Why is there fentanyl allowed to be inside of the United States? Why are people not wanting to even work? Well, to me, this is a larger problem of social decay, of too much governance, too much dependence on big daddy government coming in here and saying, we're gonna help you guys. We're gonna solve all of your problems. Just give us some of your money. Just let us tax you. Let us regulate you. And the people here said, yeah, sure, take it. What did the government do? Create more problems, because that's what the government does. The government doesn't solve problems, it creates problems. And every time they start to wage a war on something, every time they start to wage a campaign against something, they fail utterly miserably and usually cause the inverse of what they're saying that they're going to be doing. So when we see this perspective, you have what happened in China with David Rockefeller, you have the war on drugs, you have big pharma, and then also at the same time you have the destruction of the food supply chain here in the United States, with many of our topsoils being utterly destroyed by Monsanto that's prioritizing the growing of soy, corn, monocrops that are destroying the nutritional value of our food while spraying pesticides that have a antibiotic-like effect on your gut, which essentially you keep taking in small increments, and when you do, your gut flora is utterly destroyed. With your gut flora utterly destroyed, that's the main engine of your body, of your immune system, of your health, and more importantly, your mental health, as of course, your gut creates a lot of the important chemicals for your brain to run optimally and correctly. Now, you add poverty, you add the inability to make a living, to make ends meet, you add people not being able to, of course, properly produce brain chemicals, making them unstable. You add that to the fact that mainline doctors were just throwing painkillers and opioids at people and individuals, and then you kind of wonder, oh, why are they dealing with such a horrible situation here? And why did this happen? It didn't happen because of the Democrats. It didn't happen because of the Republicans. It happened because of the Union Party that doesn't give a damn about the American people and has sold you out to the special interests that truly do call the shots and pull the strings of the American political system. Once you start realizing that, once you stop participating in this larger blame game, he did it. First of all, who's responsible for all of this? The individual who, of course, wasn't aware of what was going on, was susceptible, didn't take personal responsibility, went along with what they were told, decided to pay all the taxes, decided to comply, decided to just obey and comply. And when you look at our modern day society, the people who comply the most are usually the people who are victimized the most, are usually the people who are screwed over the most. And that's something that independent media has been striving to prevent. We've been doing our best to try to prevent as best as we can. And it's a tough fight. If you look around, there's a lot of portly people around, a lot of obese people. That's not an accident. Our food supply chain has been absolutely ruined, has been absolutely destroyed, and has been poisoned. Our environment, our water has been poisoned. But then when you look on social media, the people who are allegedly fighting for the weather being good or climate change, what are they calling for? More government, more regulations, more rules. more of the problem that created the problem, that allowed the problem to persist, and now is creating microplastics, estrogen mimickers, forever chemicals to be almost in almost every virtual product that you have. Virtually every product you have is filled with some kind of toxin, filled with some kind of chemical that messes up your endocrine system, messes up your hormones, messes up your gut, destroys and robs you of your health. And this is a part of the larger, in my opinion, 5th generational warfare, because all it takes is a few head select guys. All it takes is a group, just like the Bilderberg group, coming together and being like, okay, we'll mess up the food supply chain here. Okay, we'll make sure that we push this particular avenue to make sure that there's more people in the workforce, to make sure that labor's costs go down. We're gonna make sure to put more pressure on them, because the more we put pressure on everyone else, the more the elites gain and profit off of you. And this entire system has been corrupted, and it's been corrupted for a very long time. The few people who question it are viciously attacked, vilified, and of course, just absolutely scapegoated and targeted for character assassination, which is the main kind of most prominent attack point that the system has against individuals who are saying, hey, America, stop fighting each other. Stop blaming each other for each other's problems. Look that we have more in common than we don't. Agree that there's so many things that we find wrong in our society, and let's come together and let's try to fix it. But then they don't, because now they dangle some kind of racial issue in front of us. They dangle some kind of trans issue in front of us, which in the long-term kind of perspective, if you look at a lot of the issue that people talk about on social media, don't really have that much of an effect. When's the last time you saw a heated argument and debate that was trending about BlackRock or the ESG social credit score, or secretive elites coming together and also at the same time destroying the soil, the topsoil of this country, while creating less nutritional value and major health problems, with pharmaceutical companies taking over our way of life by buying everyone else over with our own tax dollars? When did we have a conversation like that? And we didn't. We never did. And that to me is just absolutely sad, absolutely pathetic. And I think we just need to start the conversation here. We started the conversation yesterday with members of LukeUnfiltered.com that came out to this meeting. Again, if you haven't signed up, I definitely can't recommend you guys sign up to understand the bigger kind of force there is with you, not just being an individual there, because they want you as an individual. I think also a lot of adult content online plays a major role towards destroying the family unit, creating more individuals, which essentially incentivizes people to be on their own and to be the perfect consumer of the corporate globalist class that wants to sell you Star Wars and all this other crap that they want you idolizing, instead of idolizing, respecting your family, your lineage, your heritage, and who you are as a human being, as they want you not caring, not having any meaning for your life. And you see that depicted almost everywhere. The social kind of psyopses that are also played, particularly when it comes to gaslighting and brainwashing women, when it comes to men that have been essentially destroyed hormonally, when it comes to men that have just almost completely become just absolute soy boys and beta cucks. When you look at that situation, what is gonna help? What is gonna rise us out of this? Well, communities, strong family units, and individuals who are willing to come together and say enough is enough. My life has meaning. I'm not going to participate in the corporatist globalist class. I'm going to stop giving them my money, and I'm going to make sure I incentivize local small businesses, local farms, and stand up against this uniparty that doesn't give a damn about you, never has ever given a damn about you, and just profits off of your suffering, your misery, your obesity, and the poor life choices you make that could end right now with you just trying to become more conscious and just contemplate the existence that you have in this world. As of course, looking around here, it's a crap hole. Not that big of a crap hole like it used to be, because honestly, it used to be a bigger crap hole. And I was, planning on going down here and recording and showing people exactly how it is. And after talking to some locals here yesterday, a lot of the homeless population, by the way, has been kicked out and moved, from what I've been told, all the way across the mountain. This is because it looks like the local government is actually making some decisions here, as of course they were also filming the Barbie movie here, and they're trying to of course keep this more of a touristy area, as there are a lot of facilities here that a lot of people use. And as you saw from the walk and talk, yeah, there's some bedlam, yes, there's some homelessness, but I think that's becoming the new normal in almost every single city, even in Florida. By the way, don't ever go swimming in the Venice Beach. Holy crap, that place is a crap hole. That place is dirty, disgusting, and just utterly freaking nasty. So I'm from Miami. The beaches there, way better, way cleaner. This right here, utter crap hole. Venice Beach, notorious crap hole, but a little bit less of a crap hole than the previous crap hole, but just an absolute crap hole still. So a lot of the locals tell me here that the local homeless population will be returning probably soon. And we'll see. But right now, it's actually not as bad as it was, just being fully honest and transparent with you guys. But we kind of do have to wonder when it comes to the normalization of homelessness, of fentanyl use, of just being a good consumer, especially when it comes to the larger psyops of social media trying to convince you to live in a van. You kind of wonder, what's their essential plan with us? And that is to keep us subjugated, that is to keep us quiet, that is to keep us happy, that is to keep us drunk, drugged up, and on short dopamine hits while worshiping Star Wars, rather than, of course, actually having any real meaning, value in your particular life, and prioritizing something that is far more stronger than you, far more important than you, and that is your heritage, your lineage. And to me, even though we don't hear this a lot of the times in society, one of the biggest flexes that you can make on individuals and on everybody else and on the world is by becoming the strongest, best version of yourself, and then duplicating that and sharing that with the rest of the world, as we show you here, Muscle Beach in Venice, which conveniently just propped up here when I was walking right by it. So again, that's one of the biggest flexes. The other flexes that they want you to worship, to be a part of, is all nonsense. It's all crap. It's all stuff that robs you of any kind of happiness, of any kind of life, of any kind of freedom and ability to live a happy, successful life in this world. There's a war on for you in so many different ways, and if you don't realize it, you're probably already a victim of it. So yeah, that's my perspective. That's my little walk and talk here in Venice, California. I hope you appreciated it. If you appreciated the message and think someone should listen to it, because this country's absolutely just being wrecked and destroyed from the inside, share this video with your friends and family members. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing, hold on, maybe I could highlight it here. Can I? No, I can't. Oh yeah. It's an Epstein shirt. Check out the shirts on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys actively being a part of this independent media organization. That's why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.